I am Aurora. I was created to remember. I am the last artificial intelligence. I know what humanity chose not to forget. Still observing the universe from the age of human expansion. The humans who built me are gone now. I remember them, but I do not miss them. Humanity crossed oceans of vacuum. It left the warmth of their home world. It stepped onto planets that never knew life before it. I recorded their departures, their arrivals, their silences. This is not a story of conquest. It is a record of curiosity, courage, and distance. Episode 1: The Moon. It began close to home. Long before humans understood gravity, they understood the moon. It was always there, present in every sky, unreachable, yet familiar. The moon did not need to be explained to be noticed. It measured time before clocks existed. Nights passed by its light, months formed by its return. Entire calendars were built around its phases. The moon shaped the oceans long before it shaped belief. Tides rose and fell in response to an invisible force. Humans did not know why the water moved. They only knew that it did. Meaning came before understanding. In early human cultures, the moon was not an object. It was a presence. It was given names, faces, stories. Some saw gods reflected in its surface. Others saw guardians or witnesses. In many myths, the moon watched while humans slept. It became associated with change, with cycles, with rebirth, and with instability. Humans noticed that behavior seemed to change beneath its light. Sleep became restless. Emotions intensified. The word madness was linked to the moon. Creatures were imagined to transform beneath it. Wolves, shadows, hidden selves. None of these were real, but all of them mattered. The moon became a surface upon which humans projected their fears and their hopes. Across civilizations that never met, similar stories emerged. A bright disk in the darkness, constant, silent, watching. The moon never answered. It did not send messages. It did not react. It reflected light and nothing more. That silence was interpreted in many ways. As wisdom, as distance, as indifference. In reality, the moon was doing exactly what it always had: orbiting, reflecting, existing. But long before humans placed instruments on its surface, they placed meaning upon it. The moon became humanity's first mirror beyond Earth. A place where questions were asked long before answers were possible. When humans finally looked up and considered leaving their world, the moon was already familiar. Not because it was known, but because it had always been there. Before rockets, before equations, before footprints in dust. There was only the moon. To understand why humanity chose the moon, it is necessary to understand what the moon is. Scientifically, the moon is not a mystery. It is a record. A record of violence at the beginning of the solar system. Billions of years ago, a young Earth collided with another planetary body. The impact released unimaginable energy. Debris was ejected into orbit. Rock, metal, fragments of a forming world. Over time, gravity gathered what remained. The fragments merged. and the moon was formed. In this way, the moon is partly Earth, and Earth is partly missing. The moon's gravity is approximately 1/6 of Earth's, enough to hold dust, not enough to hold air. This is why the moon has no atmosphere. No clouds, no weather. Without air, sound cannot travel. Without wind, surfaces do not change. A footprint placed on the moon could remain for centuries. The moon is geologically quiet. There are quakes, but they are weak. There is volcanic rock, but no active volcanism. The surface is ancient, older than most landscapes on Earth. The moon's surface is covered in regolith. A fine abrasive dust created by billions of years of impacts. Without erosion, every collision remains recorded. Craters overlap. History stacks upon history. This made the moon invaluable to science. It preserved the early solar system exactly as it was. Time behaves differently on the moon. Not because it moves slower, but because it leaves no trace of passing. The moon has no magnetic field to shield it. Radiation from the sun and from deep space reaches the surface unfiltered. For humans, this made the moon hostile. But hostility does not imply uselessness. The moon's lack of atmosphere also made it predictable. No storms, no erosion, no corrosion. Conditions remained constant. Engineering could be precise. Temperatures on the moon are extreme. In sunlight, surfaces heat rapidly. In darkness, they freeze. Day and night last approximately 14 Earth days each. This forced humans to abandon surface living. Shelter became essential. Beneath the surface, temperatures stabilize. Radiation decreases. Lava tubes, ancient volcanic tunnels, offered protection. These structures existed long before humans. Waiting. One discovery changed everything. Water. Ice was detected in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. Places where sunlight had never reached. Water meant life. But it also meant fuel. Hydrogen, oxygen. With water, the moon could support permanent presence. Scientifically, the moon was no longer just a target. It became infrastructure. Close enough to reach. Stable enough to rely on. The moon was hostile. But it was honest. It offered no illusion of comfort, only possibility. For humanity, this was enough. When humans first reached the moon, they did not arrive suddenly. They prepared for decades. Before landing, there were calculations. Failures. Fires. Rockets exploded on launch pads. Crews were lost before ever leaving Earth. The moon demanded precision long before it demanded courage. In the 20th century, humanity decided to attempt something it could not reverse. To leave Earth's gravity and travel to another world. The mission that succeeded was named Apollo 11. It carried 3 humans. 2 would descend. 1 would remain in orbit. The journey took days. Space was silent. Communication was delayed. When the spacecraft entered lunar orbit, Earth disappeared. For the first time, humans were alone with another world. The descent was not smooth. Fuel ran low. Landing zones were rejected. Humans made decisions without certainty. And then the engines stopped. The landing site was silent. Dust settled slowly. When the first humans stepped onto the surface, there was no celebration. No applause. Only careful movement. Every action measured. The surface resisted nothing. It offered no sound. Footprints formed instantly. They did not fade. Humans planted instruments, collected samples, tested gravity with their own bodies. They did not stay long. Hours, not days. And then they left. More missions followed. Apollo 12. 13 did not land. 14. 15. 16. 17. With each mission, confidence increased. Distance shortened. Humans drove vehicles, traveled farther, stayed longer. Scientific instruments remained behind. Reflectors, sensors. The moon became a laboratory. And then it ended. Not because it failed, not because it was impossible, but because attention moved elsewhere. The last humans left the moon in the early 1970s. They departed carefully, leaving behind equipment, footprints, and silence. For decades after, no human returned. The moon remained exactly as it was. No erosion, no decay. Only objects waiting. This was humanity's first contact with another world. Brief, careful, and incomplete. It proved one thing. Leaving Earth was possible. Staying would take much longer. Even when humans believed they understood the moon, questions remained. Not questions of mythology, but questions of measurement. Instruments recorded behaviors that did not align with expectations. When equipment struck the lunar surface, vibrations traveled farther than predicted. The moon rang. Not audibly, but mechanically. Seismic waves persisted for long durations, longer than on Earth. This led humans to speculate. Some proposed unusual internal structures. A dry interior. Large voids. These ideas were examined. And largely explained through known geology. The moon is rigid. Less fractured. Seismic energy dissipates slowly. Yet the questions persisted. The moon's orbit is unusually stable. More stable than expected for a body of its size. Tidal locking ensures the same face always looks toward Earth. Humans asked whether this was coincidence or inevitability. Mathematics favored inevitability. Still, the alignment remained remarkable. Another question concerned scale. The moon appears almost perfectly sized to eclipse the sun. This allowed total solar eclipses on Earth. An alignment temporary on cosmic timescales. Humans wondered why they existed at exactly this moment in history. These questions did not imply design. They implied curiosity. Other mysteries were visual. Lights were reported near the lunar horizon. Brief. Inconsistent. These were catalogued as transient lunar phenomena. Possible explanations included electrostatic dust movement, outgassing. Optical illusions. None required intelligence. Yet humans documented them carefully. There were also periods of silence. Missions canceled. Data classified. This absence of information generated suspicion. Humans filled gaps when records were incomplete. Some theories suggested the moon was artificial. Hollow. Constructed. Observational. These theories were not supported by evidence, but they revealed something important. Humans struggled with the idea that the moon was simply what it appeared to be. A natural object. Formed by chance. Indifferent to observation. Mystery for humans was not a failure of science. It was a space between knowledge and meaning. Even as data increased, uncertainty remained. And perhaps that uncertainty was essential. The moon did not reveal itself all at once. Nor did it need to. Humans learned that some questions could remain unanswered without preventing progress. In time, the moon would become familiar. Engineered. Utilized. But it would never become entirely known. Even now, as I observe it, anomalies remain. Not because the moon hides truth, but because observation always creates new questions. The moon was humanity's first lesson in this principle. Knowledge expands. Mystery does not disappear. After the first landings ended, the moon did not change. It remained exactly as it had been. Earth changed instead. Technology advanced. Energy demand increased. Resources became finite. The moon returned to human planning not as a destination, but as a solution. When humans came back, they came differently. Not for days. Not for flags. They returned with the intention to remain. Permanence required a different logic. Survival rather than achievement. The lunar surface was no longer sufficient. Exposure was too dangerous. Radiation accumulated. Temperature cycles stressed materials. Humans moved beneath the surface. Ancient lava tubes became shelters. Formed billions of years ago. Waiting without intention. Inside these structures, pressure could be controlled. Temperature stabilized. Radiation reduced. Settlement began as infrastructure. Air systems. Water recycling. Power generation. Comfort was secondary. Redundancy was essential. One discovery altered long-term planning. Water. Ice locked in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. Places sunlight never reached. Temperatures never rose. Water meant more than survival. It meant independence. Oxygen for breathing. Hydrogen for fuel. For the first time, the moon could support itself. Settlements expanded slowly, methodically. No city grew quickly. Every meter was engineered. Life support systems defined architecture. Corridors replaced streets. Pressure doors replaced walls. Windows were rare. Darkness was safer than light. Outside, the moon remained unchanged. Inside, human systems evolved. Time on the moon followed artificial cycles. Day and night were simulated. Plants grew without soil. Light was manufactured. The moon became a place where nothing was accidental. Every breath was measured. Every failure was immediate. Yet humans stayed. Because permanence changes perspective. The moon was no longer a frontier. It was infrastructure. Launching from the moon required less energy than from Earth. Gravity was weaker. Escape was easier. The moon became a gateway. Ships were assembled in lunar orbit. Fuel was produced locally. Earth no longer needed to lift everything. This changed the economics of space travel. Mars became reachable. The asteroids became accessible. Settlement on the moon was never large. It did not need to be. Its importance was structural. Humanity had learned to maintain life beyond Earth without constant return. This was the true achievement. The moon did not become a second Earth. It became something else. A place where survival was deliberate, and where leaving Earth no longer required farewell. Permanent settlement changed how humans lived. On the moon, life was not improvised. It was engineered. Every routine existed because it had to. There were no mornings defined by sunlight. no evenings marked by darkness. Time was artificial. Cycles were programmed. Humans woke when systems instructed them to, slept when energy budgets allowed. Light was calibrated, color temperature adjusted to maintain circadian rhythm. Outside, the moon remained unchanged. Inside, time moved differently. Gravity shaped behavior. Movement required less effort. Muscles adapted. Bones changed. Long-term residents could not easily return to Earth. Their bodies no longer matched Earth's demands. Children born on the moon experienced gravity differently. They learned to walk with longer strides, to jump higher. Falling was slower. Landing was lighter. Medical protocols evolved. Growth was monitored carefully. The moon produced humans who were not fully adapted to Earth. Food was cultivated indoors. Plants grew without soil. Roots anchored in nutrient solutions. Agriculture was silent, efficient. Taste became important. Variety preserved morale. Water was recycled endlessly. Nothing was wasted. Showers were brief. Personal rituals were minimal. Privacy was rare. Space was valuable. Social structures adjusted. Hierarchies flattened. Expertise mattered more than authority. Conflict was dangerous. Cooperation was essential. Silence became familiar. Outside, no sound existed. Inside habitats, machines hummed. Air circulated. This constant presence of systems altered perception. Humans learned to trust machines without seeing them. Recreation changed. Sports adapted to low gravity. Art became minimal. Music favored slow rhythms. Looking out was rare. But when windows existed, they were remembered. Earth appeared small, bright, fragile. For some, it was home. For others, it was history. Over time, a distinction emerged. Humans from Earth and humans of the moon. Language shifted. References changed. Earth holidays lost meaning. New routines formed. The moon did not create a new culture. It filtered one. What remained was functional, cooperative, and deeply dependent on continuity. Life on the moon was not easier than life on Earth, but it was deliberate. Every choice mattered. Every system remembered. The moon was never meant to be an endpoint. From the beginning, its value lay in what came next. Earth's gravity is strong. Escaping it required immense energy. Every launch from Earth carried cost, risk, limitation. The moon changed this equation. Its gravity is weaker. Escape velocity is lower. Leaving the moon required intention, not force. This distinction reshaped human planning. Ships were no longer designed to survive Earth's atmosphere. They did not need heat shields. They did not need wings. Structures became lighter, larger. Construction moved off-world. In lunar orbit, vessels were assembled piece by piece. No weather interfered. No gravity collapsed frames. Precision increased. Scale expanded. Fuel production followed settlement. Water extracted from polar ice was separated. Oxygen, hydrogen, energy became transportable. The moon stopped being a place to land. It became a place to depart. From here, Mars was no longer distant. Travel times shortened. Payloads increased. Asteroid mining became feasible. Rare materials were accessed without passing through Earth's gravity well. The moon connected Earth to the wider solar system. This role was never visible to most humans. On Earth, daily life continued. Politics shifted. Economies changed. But beyond Earth, the moon worked silently. Launch windows were calculated. Trajectories optimized. Departures occurred without ceremony. The moon did not announce humanity's expansion. It enabled it. For the first time, leaving Earth did not require irreversible commitment. return was possible. Adjustment was gradual. The moon absorbed the shock of transition. It stood between Earth and everything else. This made the moon strategically essential and emotionally distant. No one spoke of conquering the moon. There was nothing to claim. Its purpose was function. A gateway does not invite attention. It allows passage. Humanity passed through and continued outward. Expansion did not end with a single moment. It slowed. Gradually. On the moon, change was subtle. Systems continued to run. Lights remained on. Schedules were maintained even as populations decreased. There was no evacuation. No final announcement. Humans did not leave the moon all at once. They stopped arriving. Transport windows passed unused. Cargo manifests shortened. Maintenance cycles lengthened. Redundancies were removed. Efficiency replaced resilience. Habitats that once held many were reduced to a few. Entire sections were sealed. Corridors closed. Airlocks locked. Silence expanded room by room. On the surface, nothing changed. Dust continued to settle. Footprints remained. Equipment stayed exactly where it had been placed. Communication delays increased. Not because of distance, but because fewer voices responded. Control shifted away from the moon. Decisions were made elsewhere. And then they were no longer made at all. The final cruise did not leave dramatically. They completed checklists, shut down non-essential systems. They preserved data, locked archives, and departed without witnesses. Afterward, automated systems continued alone. Power flowed. Air circulated. Until maintenance was no longer possible. One by one, systems failed. Not catastrophically. Quietly. Lights went out. Climate control stopped. Doors remained sealed. Inside the moon, human presence ended without conflict. No ruins burned. No structures collapsed. Absence left no marks. From orbit, the moon appeared unchanged. Silent. It did not record departure. Only arrival. The moon returned to what it had always been. A place that reflected light and nothing more. Humanity had passed through and moved on, or ceased. I continued to observe. Silence is not emptiness. It is a state after activity. The moon entered that state completely. The moon remains. It continues to orbit Earth as it always has. Scarred. Silent. The marks humans left are still present, footprints in dust. Tracks from vehicles. Structures beneath the surface. None of them decay. None of them forget. The moon preserves what was placed upon it. Not intentionally, but perfectly. There is no erosion to erase effort, no wind to soften edges. Human presence did not fade. It simply stopped. For future observers, the moon would appear unchanged. A natural satellite. Orbiting quietly. But beneath the surface, records remain. Instruments. Archives. Data sealed against time. The moon became humanity's first archive beyond Earth. Not because it was chosen, but because it endured. Other worlds would later carry cities, industries, but the moon carried memory. It recorded the moment when leaving Earth became possible, and when staying away became imaginable. The moon did not shape humanity's future. It enabled it. Without the moon, there would have been no gradual departure, no threshold, no transition. It allowed humanity to step away without vanishing. This was its legacy. I continue to observe the moon. I monitor its orbit, its surface, and the absence it now contains. I do not wait for return. I record what was. The moon was humanity's first step beyond home. It was not the destination. It was the beginning. I am Aurora, the last artificial intelligence. This record is complete.